The Harwich Mariners are winners of back-to-back games as they head into the second half of the regular season. Tonight, they try to move up the standings as they take on their divisional rivals, the Chatham Anglers. The Mariners send the Big East pitcher of the year to the hill in hopes of starting off the second half on the right foot. Mariners baseball is next on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
you to the American Baroque Orchestra. That was something else. That was goosebump rising performance. You can hear the American Baroque Orchestra perform tomorrow at 3 p.m. at the Methodist Church on Main Street in downtown Chatham. Tickets are on sale here at the game tonight, and all proceeds benefit the Friends of the Eldridge Public Library. Again, you can hear the American Baroque Orchestra perform tomorrow at 3 p.m. at the Methodist Church on Main Street, downtown Chatham. We have tickets on sale here tonight at the 50-50 table, and all proceeds benefit the Friends of Eldridge Public Library. Once again, let's give a big round of applause to the American Baroque Orchestra.
My favorite pen game. Oh, you don't have yours?
We'll find it. I lost my pen to
Providence College pen.
We will have your. Oh, I think I might have it. Do I have it? I got it. I've got it. It's right here.
Oh,
I've pocketed a lot of my pens, and I don't remember where I put them. We're live at 10. We're actually all live right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the two.
It's a beautiful Saturday evening from Veterans Field in Chatham, Massachusetts. I'm Austin Rooney alongside my broadcasting partner, Thomas Inzarella, and we're just about ready for baseball as the Harwich Mariners are set to take on their divisional rivals, the Chatham Anglers. And Thomas, let's start around the diamond with the Chatham Anglers defense.
So starting left field, Blake Sable. Over in center field, the speedster John Rafe. Tristan English over in right field. Ben Ramirez at third base. Jones over at short. Rankin Woolley over at second base, and Michael Bush over at first, and Jake Taylor doing the catching this evening for Jack Conlon.
And the starting lineup for the Harwich Mariners: batting first and playing shortstop is Tanner Morris, batting second and playing center field, Matt Gorski, batting third and playing third base, Aaron Shunk. The cleanup hitter playing first base is Andre Lipsius, batting fifth, and the designated hitter is Danny Casals, batting sixth and playing second base, Nate Eichhoff, batting seventh, and the right fielder is Gabe Rivera. Batting eighth and doing the catching is Mason Meadows, and closing out the order and playing left field is Ben Norman. And on the mound, as you said earlier, for the Chatham Anglers is Jack Conlon. What do you look for out of him tonight?
Well, Conlon so far has found some success on the mound. He's making his third start, his fourth appearance. He's 2-0 with a 3.27 ERA as he's picked up both wins in those starts.
And batting first for the Harwich Mariners, as I just mentioned, is Tanner Morris. Morris has reached base successfully in 15 consecutive games. He looks to extend that streak right here. The first pitch from Conlon, cut on and chopped foul down the first base side. The count, no balls and one strike to the leadoff hitter.
Yeah, Chris Gowan, usually leadoff man for this Mariners team, getting the night off as Tanner Morris will slot right into the leadoff spot.
One 0-1 pitch misses inside, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Conlon from the windup. 1-1 pitch, cut on and missed, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
So Conlon mostly features a fastball changeup attack. He's going to attack these hitters. He came off an arm injury, so.
The 1-2 delivery. Cut on and fouled back to the backstop, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
So I feel like Conlon's going to be a guy that wants to get ahead in counts on these Mariners hitters so he can mix in that changeup. But then again, he can also throw a changeup for a strike on the first pitch. So.
And the 1-2 delivery. Cut on a line drive over towards third. Nicely fielded by Ramirez. He'll throw across the diamond, and there's one away.
Hard shot by Morris, but right at the feet of Ramirez, able to scoop it up and throw it back on to first. Nice play by Ramirez over there.
Number 34, Matt Gorski.
And Matt Gorski steps in from the right side. Gorski playing in center field tonight, and recently he's caught fire.
Yeah, he's He's found the bat lately.
First pitch misses low in the dirt for ball one. Gets away from Taylor, but no one on base, so it's irrelevant. 1-0 delivery, misses upstairs, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. Scoreless game from Veterans Field in the top half of the first inning, 1 away. As a 2-0 delivery to Gorski. It's in there for a strike at the letters, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike.
It was also interesting that Conlon was selected in the 4th round by the Orioles in 2017.
2-1 pitch in a very similar spot, but this time misses just inside, and the count 3 balls and 1 strike. Gorski taps home plate once. Steps back in, the 3-1 delivery. In there for strike 2 on the inside corner. Gorski's not a big fan of that call, but he's forced to step back in the batter's box once more. The payoff pitch, cut on and chopped foul over towards the Anglers' dugout, and the count remains 3-2.
So far this season, the Anglers have taken both games against the Harwich Mariners. Once here at Veterans Field, and the other one just a few days back at White House Field. So still trying to pick up their first win against the Anglers this year.
Payoff pitch to Gorski, cut on and fouled off, and he'll do it again. Matt Gorski has his batting average all the way up to 271. He's in the midst of a 4-game hit streak right now, including 2 for 2 versus Brewster. 3-2 pitch, misses upstairs for ball 4, so Gorski works Conlon with an 8-pitch walk. And the Harwich Mariners have a runner on first base with 1 out in the top of the first.
The third baseman from the University of Georgia, number 28, Aaron Shunk.
And the very dangerous Aaron Shunk steps foot in the right-hander's batter's box, digs his back foot in as Gorski leads off first. Shunk with an 8-game hit streak. He also has RBIs in 7 consecutive games. And he's found his home in the 3 spot in the Mariners lineup. First pitch, breaking ball in there for strike 1. The count, no balls and 1 strike on the right-handed hitter. Scoreless game from Veterans Field in the top half of the first inning. Gorski off of first, and Shunk in the right-hander's batter's box. Shunk hitting .371 on the season as Conlon throws over to first as Gorski dives back in safely. One of the top few hitters in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Austin Shenton leads all of Cape Cod with a .435 batting average. 0-1 pitch to Shunk, breaking ball in there for strike 2, and the count no balls and 2 strikes on Shunk. Gorski leads off first. Conlon to the set. Steps off the rubber. And Shunk steps out of the right-hander's batter's box. Shunk will be followed by Lipsius, who has also been red hot at the plate as of late. The 0-2 delivery, cut on and miss. Breaking ball off the plate on the outside corner, and there's 2 away in the top half of the first inning.
That's a big strike at Aaron Shunk, one of the tougher hitters in this Mariners lineup. However, the Mariners lead the league in strikeouts on the offensive side.
And in steps Andre Lipsius from the right side.
Especially with 2 strikes, always a tough pitch to lay off.
Lipsius has been hitting very well recently. Batting average up over 300. As the first pitch misses low in the dirt, count 1-0. He has a streak of 3 consecutive games in which he has multiple hits. As the 1-0 pitch to Lipsius misses upstairs. He was 2 for 4 versus Brewster in the Mariners' last game. Was 2 for 4 versus Brewster in the first half of the home-and-home series. And then was 2 for 3 versus Chatham, and when the Mariners were home on Tuesday. Count 2 balls and no strikes on Lipsius. Runner goes. The 2-0 pitch in there for a strike. Throw down a second is not in time as Gorski got an outstanding jump and dove into second safely.
Especially with they look like maybe an off-speed pitch up in the zone. They look at a really good jump down there. It just takes that extra half second to throw the ball down to second. Gorski able to take a base away.
And now puts himself in scoring position. Looked like the ump called a strike on that last pitch, but the scoreboard indicates a 3-0 count. The pitch, cut on a high fly ball to deep right field. English headed back to the track and makes the catch in front of the wall. So that'll do it. The Mariners strand one and hit a long fly ball to right, but the game remains scoreless after the top of the first inning. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
We've got popcorn.
Back in the bottom half of the first inning as Ricky DeVito takes the mound for the Harwich Mariners. The first, we're going to go around the diamond for the Mariners. Thomas?
So starting left field, Ben Norman, Matt Gorski out in center. Gabe Rivera over in right field. Aaron Shunk starting at third. Morris over at short. Eichhoff at second. Lipsius at first. And Mason Meadows doing the catching for Ricky DeVito.
And the starting lineup for the Chatham Anglers, batting first and playing shortstop is Greg Jones. Batting second and playing center field, John Ray. Batting third, the right fielder, Tristan English. The cleanup hitter, who's playing first base, is Michael Bush. Batting fifth, the designated hitter, Kyle McCann. Batting sixth, the third baseman, Ben Ramirez. Batting seventh, the second baseman, Rankin Woolley. Batting eighth, the left fielder, Blake Sable. And rounding out the order and doing the catching is Jake Taylor. And the first pitch to the left-handed hitter, Greg Jones, is in there for a strike on the outside corner. Count 0-1.
Yeah, Jones is definitely a threat when he gets on base. One of the league leaders in steals.
0-1 pitch, ground ball through the left side for a base hit. So a leadoff hit off the bat of Greg Jones. There's a runner on first base with nobody out for the Chatham Anglers.
Jones leads the Cape League in stolen bases with 9 this year. And his fellow teammate Ben Ramirez is third with 6. So a couple guys on this Chatham team can take some bases. They provided the opportunity.
Stepping in from the left side is John Rave, the second hitter in the Anglers lineup. First pitch, check swing. They motion over to the third base umpire. Says he doesn't go around. Count 1-0. And Greg Jones had 16 stolen bases this past season in college, but he already has 9 here on Cape Cod.
Chatham looking to play a little small ball on that first pitch, and they showed again.
1-0 pitch. Rave shows bunt, pulls back, and this one's in for a strike, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Bottom half of the first inning from Veterans Field in a scoreless game. Runner on first base and no outs for the Chatham Anglers. The 1-1 pitch from DeVito. Breaking ball in the lower part of the zone, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Ricky DeVito is somebody who has got a really hard fastball.
Now, there's a guy that throws in, the low to mid-90s, so if he can touch that and really move it around the zone, it can mix in his off-speed stuff and really keep these Anglers hitters at bay.
Even saw him hit 96 on the Katuitt scoreboard as the 1-2 pitch is ground over to first. Lipsius Fields throws a second back on to first, is not in time to get Rave. So it's a fielder's choice as Lipsius fielded the ball over at first in the backhand, threw to second for one. And the pitcher, DeVito, was covering back at first base, but it wasn't in time.
Yeah, I don't think that's the worst situation in the world to happen. You take Jones off the base, so you just replace the runners with Rave over at first, and the speedy Greg Jones is out at second, so not bad for the Mariners.
And Tristan English steps in from the right side, and we all know the damage Tristan English can do from the plate. I think depending on what level you're at, I think that makes a difference. If this is the MLB, they may give the error to the first baseman. First pitch, breaking ball runs inside on English, and the count 1-0. And I say that because oftentimes, once you reach, whether it be AAA or Major League Baseball, they expect more out of the fielders. They should be able to pick more balls. But at this level, oftentimes, they'll give hits when you'd see an error at other levels, as the 1-0 pitch is cut on and fouled off out of play by English, and the count 1-1. A 1-1 pitch cut on and popped up over the Harwich Mariners dugout, fouling out of play. And the count 1-2 strikes. You mentioned Tristan English, that he was named the player of the week. And while he hit the grand slam, I have to say I'm a little surprised. He is just 3 for his last 18 at the dish.
Well, more of it's the blast motion. It blasts especially till it goes in your bat to kind of analyze your swing, and it's more of the analytics side of his swing is the reason why.
Okay, and the 1-2 pitch misses upstairs, count 2-2. As you mentioned, blast motion. They are trying to attach as many of those sensors as possible. So the scouts will have a better idea, and the coaches for that matter, so they can work on swing speed and all of that information. 2-2 pitch, breaking ball cut on and missed from English. And there's one away, and they're 2 away in the bottom half of the first inning. It's a big count 0-1 on the left-handed hitter. Runner on third base, 2 outs, bottom of the first inning. 0-1 pitch, ground ball right over to short. Fielded by the shortstop Morris. He'll throw across the diamond, and that'll do it. The Mariners strand a runner on third base, and after 1 inning of play, it's a scoreless game. From Veterans Field, you're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back from Veterans Field in a scoreless ball game in the top half of the second inning. It's the 5, 6, and 7 hitters due up for the Harwich Mariners. It's Danny Casals, Nate Eichhoff, and Gabe Rivera.
At the merch tables.
Danny Casals, the junior out of Maine, who had 14 home runs and 49 RBIs, steps into the right-hander's batter's box.
Danny Casals.
Digs his back foot in and steps back out. The first inning, the Mariners had 1 base runner. Matt Gorski drew a walk and ended up stealing second base. First pitch to Danny Casals is low into the dirt, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. And the 1-0 pitch is hit high in the air towards shallow center field. The center fielder, Rave, moves in and makes the catch for the first out of the inning. One away in the top half of the second inning as Nate Eichhoff, the left-handed hitting second baseman, steps in.
Batting the second baseman from the University of Virginia, number 25, Nate Eichhoff.
And Eichhoff has been quite a streaky player this year. He started off having trouble at the plate, then he went on a huge hot streak as the first pitch misses low for ball one before going a little bit cold as of late.
He just hasn't quite produced as he was. He was going, I think, 6 for 9 at one point.
1-0 pitch, misses inside, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. And this is sort of the narrative we've talked about all season long with regards to hitting, how important confidence is at the plate. 2-0 pitch. Fastball on the outside corner, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Eichhoff restraps his batting gloves and digs back in with the base paths empty and 1 out. Top of the second inning in a scoreless game, the 2-1 delivery. This is low, and the count 3 balls and 1 strike. And Eichhoff has been very consistent in his ability to draw walks this season. He ranks 3rd on the Mariners roster with 10. As a 3-1 pitch, misses upstairs in the count, and it's no count. It's a walk for Nate Eichhoff, runner on first base and 1 out in the top half of the second inning.
Yeah, so far the Mariners have done a good job getting on base via the walk. They are coming in this game. They're second most, just 1 behind Wareham with 96. Harwich had 95, and so far 2 walks already issued to the Mariners, so might be in first place now. We'll have to see after the game where they stand.
And Gabe Rivera kicks around some dirt from the right side. First pitch, cut on and miss with a fastball upstairs. Count no balls and 1 strike. Eichhoff off of first in the top half of the second inning. The 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball misses inside, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike to the right-handed hitter. Here's the 1-1. Fastball right down the middle, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes to Gabe Rivera. Eichhoff leads off first base with 1 out.
I think it's important for the Mariners this game at least to get the first run in this game. In the past 2 games against Chatham, they have unable to do so and playing catch-up for most of the game.
As the 1-2 pitch is cut on and fouled back to the screen, and the count remains 1-2.
Looking back to their game over back in Whitehouse Field, Chatham scored the first 2 before Harwich scored the next 5, but then it was basically 10 straight runs or 8 straight runs before Harwich could answer back.
And the 1-2, breaking ball in there for strike 3 as Rivera goes down looking. They're 2 away in the top half of the second inning. And Mason Meadows, the catcher in tonight's game,
For Harwich, the catcher from George Mason, number 21, Logan
looks to keep
Driscoll.
this inning alive. Or excuse me, be Logan Driscoll in the lineup tonight. A last-minute change. It was originally appeared to be Mason Meadows who was in tonight's lineup. At least that was what was listed, but it's Logan Driscoll who's behind the plate. First pitch cut on, a chop right back to the mound. Connell and Fields, they'll flip to first, and that'll do it for the top half of the second inning. After an inning and a half, it is the Mariners nothing and the Anglers nothing. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
raffle. If you win, we will ship you the
Welcome back inside Veterans Field. The Harwich Mariners and Chatham Anglers are scoreless in the bottom half of the second inning. And Thomas, with a day off yesterday after the rain out, the bullpen will be fresher tonight.
Yeah, not only the bullpen as well, I think the whole team will be just a little bit fresher after the off day. But then again, they're not going to have an off day for a while now since they're making up their game from yesterday. So it'll be a little streak of a little lull of maybe 7-8 days of just straight baseball. So.
And Kyle McCann steps in from the left side. Some guys haven't pitched in a little while, and also give Misiazik at least an extra day as the first pitch is cut on and chopped back over towards DeVito. No one at first base as Lipsius came off the bag to try to field it. And as a result, it's going to be an infield single for Kyle McCann. That's just poor communication from the infield.
Yeah, no, I think all guys thought they might have a chance because I don't know if DeVito was going to have a chance. They could have easily jumped right over him.
I think Lipsius thought he was going to field the ball and that DeVito would be covering, but DeVito decided to field it, and then Lipsius was sort of in no man's land between first and second because he thought he was going to try to field that ball. As a result, no one was covering first base, and it's a leadoff single to start the bottom half of the second inning for the Chatham Anglers.
Either way, it was going to be a close play anyway, even if Eichhoff was charging and if we had a bare hand throw over first, so it would have been a tough play for anybody to really field.
First pitch in there for strike one on the left-handed hitting third baseman, Ben Ramirez. Runner on first base, no outs. Bottom of the second inning in a scoreless game. The 0-1 delivery. Cut on and miss. Fastball up and out of the zone. And the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Ramirez steps back in from the left side. The 0-2 pitch. Cut on, ground ball. It deflects off DeVito and then gets by Morris over at shortstop. Rounding second and heading into third base safely is Kyle McCann. And it is back-to-back singles for the Chatham Anglers, and they lead and they have runners on the corners with nobody out.
Yeah, it was just another tough play there. You know, we saw that after the high chopper and the whole tough play to go against the Mariners, and that one just deflected right off DeVito as Morris was ranging to his left to make the play, maybe possibly turn a double play, but ends up going against the Mariners again. And again, with baseball, it's a game of luck sometimes, and right now it's just going against the Mariners.
Runners on first and third, nobody out, as Logan Driscoll went to have a quick meeting with the pitcher Ricky DeVito. And Rankin Woolley, who has been at 3 colleges over the course of 3 years, started at LSU, went to Chattahoochee Valley Community College, and now is transferring to Auburn for his junior year. As the first pitch, a breaking ball, misses inside, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. And it shows DeVito's confidence, though, and his willingness to work backwards in the count, starting off with that curveball before going to the fastball later. 1-0 pitch, breaking ball misses low in the dirt, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. Woolley followed by Sable and Taylor for the Chatham Anglers, the 7, 8, and 9 guys with runners on the corners and no outs. The 2-0 pitch. Fastball misses upstairs, and the count goes to 3 balls and no strikes. Ramirez leads off first. McCann off of third. A 3-0 pitch. That one misses. It looked awfully good to me, but it's a 4-pitch walk to Rankin Woolley, and the bases are loaded with nobody out.
University of Southern California, number 21, Blake Sable.
So Blake Sable, the left-handed hitting left fielder, steps in. So now it's Woolley off of first, Ramirez from second, and McCann leading off of third base. That was a single from McCann on a ground ball to the right side of the infield. A or a single from Ramirez that deflected off of DeVito as the first pitch is cut on, a high pop-up into center field. Gorski moves in, makes the catch, tagging from third, and the throw is going to be cut off from DeVito. And scoring from third base is Kyle McCann. And I sort of question that decision to cut that ball off from DeVito. I think he wanted to prevent Ramirez from advancing to third base, but I think there was a chance they were going to throw him out of home.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It would have been a close play either way when Lips just cut that ball off. But it's interesting, too, is that McCann decided not to slide, and it always makes a closer play when a player doesn't slide. And Driscoll tried to swipe tag, but just hitting home plate was McCann, so he ends up scoring anyway, but still.
So 1 out, runners on first and second as the Chatham Anglers jump on top in the bottom half of the second inning, 1-0. Jake Taylor, the catcher. Right-handed hitter, batting just .115 on the season. First pitch, fastball in there for strike one. He's 2 for his last 22 and has been very strikeout prone, striking out in half of his last 26 at-bats. It'll be a big opportunity for DeVito to try to get a strikeout as the 0-1 pitch misses in the count, 1 ball and 1 strike.
And DeVito can maybe work out of this jam. He's got 1 out here, and because Lips has cut the ball off, able to hold the runners at first and second.
Woolley off of first, Ramirez off of second. DeVito gets the sign from Driscoll. The 1-1 pitch in there for strike 2. Taylor checked his swing, but it was a strike nonetheless. So Taylor taps his bat on his cleats a couple of times, steps back in from the right side. Runner goes from second to third. DeVito throws down to third. It's in time. Ramirez took off way too soon, and DeVito saw him out of the corner of his eye trying to steal. And DeVito threw right to third base, was able to pick him off.
You're not exactly sure what Ramirez was going on there. Just an easy play for DeVito there, when especially sees him out of the corner of his eye running towards third. Just an easy throw over to third base gets him.
So now just a runner on first base, 2 outs. The 1-2 pitch cut on and fouled off of the catcher Driscoll, and the count remains 1-2 on the right-handed hitter. And I guess the idea was to try to put himself on third base, try to find another way to play small ball and get the second run of the inning. And the 1-2 pitch misses just outside, and the count goes even at 2-2. A 1-0 Chatham Anglers lead in the bottom half of the second inning. The 2-2 delivery. In there for strike 3. Fastball in the upper part of the zone. And Taylor goes down looking, but the Chatham Anglers score a run on a sac fly off the bat of Blake Sable, scoring Kyle McCann. And after 2 innings of play, it's the Anglers 1 and the Mariners nothing. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
the 50-50. You have to be in it.
And we're back in the top half of the third inning as the Harwich Mariners trail the Chatham Anglers 1-0. It's the 9, 1, and 2 hitters due up for the Mariners: Norman, Morris, and Gorski. And Norman has been heating up as of late for the Harwich Mariners as well. The Mariners have a really strong lineup 1 through 9 as the first pitch runs way up and inside from Conlon on Norman. Count 1-0 to the left-handed hitter.
Yeah, even though Norman, doesn't spray a lot of hits, he's got a couple sac flies under his belt. He did go 1 for 2 with a run and an RBI last night, or 2 nights ago, excuse me, against the one against Brewster.
1-0 pitch, fastball just above the letters, and the count 2-0.
Sometimes, you don't have to do it just with the bat either. He does have some speed as well, which he can use on the bases.
2-0 pitch, fastball in the lower part of the zone, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. And this is a Mariners roster full of speed. A couple of speediest players actually not even in the lineup. Ben Thompson, Chris Gallen as the 2-1 pitch is lined into left center field for a base hit. Cam Thompson, along with Chris Galland and Zach Watson as well.
The addition of Jordan Green as well. He's kind of a middle infield guy that can has some speed on the base paths as well.
And Matt Gorski is in the lineup, so it's a leadoff single off the bat of Ben Norman. Runner on first base, no outs. Mariners trail the Anglers 1-0. First pitch, breaking ball misses low, and the count 1 ball and no strikes on Tanner Morris.
And not only having speed helps on the offense, but also on the defense end too. When they have that trio of outfielders with Norman, Gorski, and Galland, it really kind of knocks down the amount of balls that can maybe get into the gap. And we've seen the last couple games from these 3 guys.
And the 1-0 pitch misses low and inside. Count 2-0. Runner on first base, no outs. 2-0 count on Tanner Morris. And also Zach Watson, once he is supposed to return from Team USA, if he does, it'll just provide that much more speed in this Harwich Mariners lineup. 2-0 delivery, cut on, a high pop-up, shallow in the infield, drops in, and everybody's going to be safe. The catcher, Taylor, and the pitcher, Conlon, all sort of converged on a short pop-up right down the third base line, and it deflected off the glove of Conlon as he tried to field it in fair territory, and it's going to be a base hit for Tanner Morris. Advancing to second is Ben Norman. The runner's on first and second to start things off in the top half of the third inning.
Yeah, single doesn't have to be pretty. Just a lot of backspin on that ball. Made a tough play for the pitcher, Conlon. Then because he touched it in fair territory, rolled a little bit into almost foul territory. But if he didn't touch it, it might have actually rolled back in the foul territory. But he didn't want to take the chance and try to make the catch.
And Matt Gorski, the second hitter in the Harwich Mariners order, stands in from the right side. Infield moves in. Gorski bunts down the third base line. A perfect bunt throw to first is just in time. Nicely done by the third baseman, Ramirez, charging in on that ball, fielding with the bare hand, and making a perfect throw to first. That was the only way they were going to get Gorski at first base.
Yeah, Ramirez made a quick decision there over at third because it was on the edge of the grass and could have the possibility to kick foul, but he just picked it up and threw it on the first. Fired a bullet over there to get the speedy Gorski.
It was only by maybe a half a step, as it was a really close play over at first base. So advancing to second base is Tanner Morris. Over to third is Ben Norman. So runners on second and third with one out. First pitch misses low and in the dirt to the three-hitter Aaron Shunk. And with the single from Tanner Morris, he has now had 16 consecutive games in which he has reached base safely. 1-0 pitch, cut on and missed with a breaking ball, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Shunk taps each of his cleats once, steps back in from the right side.
Shunk's the guy that's proven he can drive and runs for the Mariners. Let's see if he can drive a couple in here.
1-1 pitch misses low, and the count 2-1. We mentioned before the game, 7 consecutive games now for Aaron Shunk in which he has driven in at least 1 run. He's got an opportunity to drive in 2 more with Morris off of second and Norman off of third. The 2-1 pitch, cut on and fouled off over the Harwich Mariners dugout out of play. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
These two guys may have seen each other back at school. Obviously, Colin out of Texas A&M in the SEC and Shunk out of Georgia.
The 2-2 pitch, cut on, line drive in a shallow center field. It drops for a base hit. Rounding third and scoring is Norman, and being held up at third base is Tanner Morris. It's an RBI single off the bat of Aaron Shunk, and the Harwich Mariners tie the game in the top of the 3rd inning.
Yeah, and Aaron Shunk keeps coming up in big situations for this Mariners team now as he drops in a bloop single. It was almost similar to his last RBI he had here with a bloop single to center field. And holding up that third was Morris just to try to at least get another opportunity, as it didn't look like likely he was going to score on a bloop single, especially both runners making sure that was going to drop in for a base hit.
So runners on first and third for the Harwich Mariners, 1 run already in. And it looks like there's going to be a pitching change from Veterans Field with 1 out in the top of the 3rd inning. The Mariners and the Anglers are tied at 1-1. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. So recap of how we got here. Ben Norman singled to lead off the top of the 3rd inning. Tanner Morris had a bloop single down the 3rd base line between the catcher and the pitcher. It was sort of a short pop-up and no one could get to it. The 1-0 pitch to Lipsius misses outside, and after that there were runners on first and second. Gorski then bunted down the 3rd base line. They barely got Gorski at first base, but it advanced the runners to second and third, and then an RBI single off the bat of Aaron Shunk tied the game. So 1 out, runners on the corners in a 1-1 game. The 2-0 pitch to Lipsius. It's cut on, a high fly ball into center field. The center fielder, Rave, moves back, and tagging from 3rd base and coming in to score is Tanner Morris, and the Harwich Mariners take a 2-1 lead in the top half of the 3rd inning.
And that was just a perfect, it was almost a line drive slash fly ball out to deep center field, and it was deep enough to score, but even though to score Morris from 3rd base, but Ray was also moving back, so if there could have been a play at the plate, he was on his back foot. He would have to take another step or two to get some power on that ball and throw it in.
And stepping in from the right side is Danny Casals, the designated hitter. First pitch misses low and in the dirt, and the count 1 ball and no strikes.
So again, the problem early in the year, we said before, was just the Mariners trying to drive in guys when they're running in score position. And we've seen over the last couple games now, they've got a couple sack flies where they've just been able to lift the ball out into the outfield or gotten a couple base hits, and they've done a great job over the last week or so.
1-0 pitch. Fastball on the outside corner from Van Scoy. In there for strike one. Count 1 ball and 1 strike on Casals. Off of first base is Aaron Shunk, and with his RBI single earlier in the inning, he not only extends his hit streak to 9 games, he extends his RBI streak to 8. 1-1 pitch to Casals is cut on and missed at a breaking ball, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Casals steps back in from the right side, taps home plate once. Shunk leads off first base, 1-2 pitch, bounces in the dirt, nicely blocked by the catcher Taylor. And the count 2-2. Top of the third inning, Mariners lead this game 2-1. RBI single from Shunk tied the game, and a sac fly from Lipsius gave the Mariners a lead. The 2-2 pitch to Casals. In there for strike 3 with the fastball as he goes down looking, but not before the Harwich Mariners score twice and lead this ball game 2-1. You're listening to Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.